saying I woke up in London and I did things that I couldn't have done a few months ago. I actually took an Uber. I downloaded my ticket, my plane ticket, and I did it because I have a sticker in my SIM card that makes my cell phone in an international phone. I don't need to change my SIM. I can use it in different countries. These are things that I hadn't done, that I couldn't have done in the last 5 years. So basically what we're going to see now, could you show my screen, please? Oh, later. Okay. So what I'm going to try and do is to summarize into 20 minutes the 7 bigger trends that are changing consumers today. We have tried to take anecdotes out of the way. And since technology always works, this is amazing. It's not working. Of course, if something fails to happen, it will fail to happen during the keynote presentation, right? So these are the trends, 7 basic trends. There are lots of videos. I hope to be entertaining. And this presentation usually lasts 2 hours, but I will try and make it in 20 minutes. Let's see, does it work? So now, right now, you should see a slide, an Adidas slide. Adidas is right now changing the brand's purpose. Oh, should I press that button? Oh, great, amazing. But I can't see it here, can I? Okay, great, amazing. So what I was saying is that Adidas, which is a group, you already know Adidas, they now have a new objective for 2020, which is the new thing. They are obsessed with the new because clients are also obsessed with the ephemeris, with those novelties that are, well, those new things that are always on the street. Jose Luis, not so much because he likes Android, and we will at some point be able to change him, to turn him into a Mac user. He'll be a switcher. But this is not about technology. It is about consumers, how consumers are transforming themselves. If we take a look at the strategies or a brief summary of trends, last year's trends, now it works. We will see that we had the focus meet trend, that obsession that people had to promote themselves. And we had selfies. Actually, you know that this was the action. This is the Oscars. This is the Oscars ceremony that was most retweeted ever. So, and then we have drones, which were just the need for people to have things here and now. You know that many companies are innovating here, Amazon included, and they are already testing this in different countries. Other trends from last year that tell us how consumers are changing. We have the ice bucket challenge. Remember this video, people throwing ice water over their heads? Well, this is funny because it started with people who had this disease, and it ended up by being led by celebrities, and it is the global phenomenon that has gotten more money for a project, to $100 million. So there are many other initiatives, such as, for instance, you know the initiative in the US, the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and now there's Giving Tuesday. Well, on Tuesdays, we ask for people to instead of buying, instead of purchasing, to giving money for different causes. And then we have the quantified myself. You know, people are obsessed with their data and how their data can improve their lives. Now we have lots of little devices, Apple Watch or Fitbit or even your GoPro, which make our life quantifiable. It helps us live better, or at least exercise more. And finally, there's the 3D printers. I think this is something I'm obsessed with because we will all have a closer microwave, a 3D printer, and whenever we want to print a Lego or when we want to print something for our kids, we will do it at home. And actually, Lego is thinking of changing their business model, and instead of selling the pieces, they will send the intellectual property. So this is the summary of last year. Imagine if the selfie has been so much of a trend that even Rajoy, our president, has done it. If a trend gets all the way to Rajoy, that means that the trend is consolidated. Could you give me some water? So we start with big trends that are changing the world today. Many of you already know many of these trends, and I hope not to bore you. But we try we try to surprise you as well. So the first one is the start economies. Any company needs to think as a startup, and it needs to be consumer-centric. It's what I told you about this morning. How come Uber has become a success, and how can I download my boarding pass? Well, because they are consumer-centric, because it's easier for us. And here we see that 4 out of 10 of the companies that have the better results in the stock exchange are startups or are behaving as a startup. And 2 of those companies are Chinese. And it's funny because China was usually seen as the copy machine. But now they're creating companies. You know Xiaomi, which is Apple's rival? But they are 10 times cheaper. They were out of stock in 11 seconds. That which seemed impossible years ago is now being done by Chinese. Uber, well, what I was saying this morning, 500 million, that's what they invoiced only in San Francisco, compared with $140 million that were invoiced by taxis, by cabs in San Francisco, only in San Francisco. It's actually amazing to see that it's illegal in Spain, something that I don't really understand, because consumers want this service. If taxi drivers see a danger in this, then they have to adapt their service. For me to prefer taxis than Uber. What else? You know Airbnb. Airbnb has become the first hotel in the world without owing any assets. They don't own a single room. It's just like Uber. Uber does not own a car, not even a car. Or Alibaba is the main retailer without having a single store. And this is funny because 1 million rooms, I think that was during the month of March, but that is growing. They also have legal problems in certain countries. For instance, in the EU especially. And because we don't really know how to tax this and how to fit it with our tax system. Here's a video. I'm not going to show it. It's an Airbnb video, but if you want this presentation, the long one, you just need to ask Sngular for the presentation and we will send it to you. Airbnb, for New Year's End, they had a special program so that no one would spend the night alone. You could spend New Year's Eve with someone else. 500,000 people chose to do that. No, we're not going to watch this video. Okay, next. In Spain, we are very far from this, but Sngular is following the right way. 320 million invested in startups in 2014. Only Kickstarter, which is the platform you know for crowdfunding, got 320 million. You know that there are 529 million, sorry, so that you know that there is a long way to follow. And it's not just small companies that are not going to be disruptive in my business. No, these are companies that are changing the consumers, that are consumer-centric, and they are changing the industry. This happens with Uber, with Alibaba, it happens with Airbnb. So those are things that big companies need to understand. They need to embrace the change, and they need to not think that they can't do it or shouldn't do it. So 11 minutes, and I'm going to start with the second trend. Living on data. Obviously, we're all data, and you know it. Some experts are here. I'm going to show you Google's video so that you can see how, depending on your searches, you can summarize 1 year.
Here's what gives us hope. The world knows how to fight this disease.
Here we go. Ready?
Did you hear those words?
Just rendezvousing with this comet is an extraordinary thing. We're going to make discoveries that no one's imagined yet.
Y lo importante
And what's really important is that we're not talking about data itself, but what can be done with those data, that magic. Data actually don't mean anything without context. I don't know if you know this example. British Airways, in order to use technology and to sell, how have they managed to sell when you have an outdoors publicity ad? Well, they use the flights. They use technology so that every time a plane flew by, the line here would show you where it was. They were connected. It was a real-time connection. So as you can see, they were using data in a magic way that actually reaches out to the consumer, and it makes people get linked to technology. Unilever, for instance, discovered that in Google there are over 1 billion searches on hair care. Men did not know about this. Well, it's one of the words that are most searched on Google. How do I take care of my hair? So they created YouTube platforms, and actually they have changed their strategy so that they can be adapted, adapt their content to users. What else? You know that 56% of people are very much worried by their data, and this is funny. I think it's funny because there was an Amazon research that showed that people would sell their data for $20. So we think that $20 is enough for our data. And for those of you who think that privacy is more expensive, well, there is this phone that is a Spanish phone that protects all of your data. What else? Context. Context is key. Content is important, but context is king. We have seen that. They were asking you questions on the app, and actually it's even more important. Context is even more important than content. It's not the same thing to say something 5 years ago than say it now. There was a crisis 5 years ago. It's not the same thing saying something now than when I'm with my clients or with my employees. And you need to know that 11 million youngsters have abandoned Facebook in the last few years since 2011. Why? Because their parents are there as well. So context is important. They have decided to start using Snapchat, and those over 35 years old don't know how to use Snapchat. I don't know how to use it either. I have tried, but I don't know how to use it. So a company such as Hellmann's is now using context in order to give a use or a value to their users.
Even so, 1 in 3 youngsters don't know how to cook, and this moment keeps happening a lot through all ages. Mostly because people have no idea what to do with the ingredients they find in their fridge. But if there's Hellmann's, there is a way. Hellmann's presents What's Cook, the first live recipe service using WhatsApp. Just send us your number in our website, and our chefs get in touch with you. Through the biggest social network in Brazil, Hellmann's connects people to real chefs who are prepared to teach how to cook using exactly what you have in your refrigerator. You just have to take a picture, and instantly they come up with a delicious recipe with Hellmann's and teach you how to do it step by step. Do you think it's hard? They send images.
como veis, es más largo, pero
As you can see, it's longer, but it's technology that's applied to a real context and a real use for their clients, for their consumers. What else? Lego. You know that Lego was unfairly left out during the Oscars, but they owned the Oscars because they gave this Oscar statuettes, Lego Oscar statuettes. So this shows that context is important. If you know how to use it, then you can benefit from it. Let's go over this. New ways of telling things. This is a new trend. In the end, narrative is important. How we get to consumers, to our clients, we're not using the same narrative the same way. So now the way in which we do things is also the message in itself. We have a very good example that I was giving you previously, 57% growth in Snapchat. The way in which it has been configured is what makes it grow so much. You already know this? Do you know this campaign? Do you know this? Do you know this? This is just so that you know how an insurance company is using context in an intelligent way. This is YouTube. And you know that when they tell you skip ad, you have to wait for 7 seconds. So they have to do their spot in 7 seconds. This was the most seen ad in the whole year. And we could spend minutes and minutes and minutes watching this. It's a way of hooking people up to an ad that is an insurance ad. No, actually, it doesn't stop. And it doesn't stop. The poor mom is looking and thinking, oh my God, it's not stopping. And it goes on and on. You can see it on the internet. There are hundreds of videos such as this one, but I think it's an intelligent way of using media, a channel, a context so that people get hooked up. Does she get to the washing machine? And this is another one. I'm sure many of you have seen this. Could you lower the volume a bit? This ad is not a mystery. You know, it can be more or less fun. It was quite widely seen, but there were 15 different actors, and they all had different skills. For instance, calling birds and so on. So in social networks, people complained because they said that this was impossible, that people could not be doing what they were doing. So they replicated everyone, and they did this video.
Thinking that what they're seeing isn't real. Like YouTube user, the king of trolls. Birds don't take orders from anyone. And a rather unkind conspiracy Mike said, these guys are as fake as their beards. Well, Conspiracy Mike, and any other doubters out there, these guys are all legendary at something. And to prove it, here are the casting tapes from our latest ad, so that you can see the guys as we did. No tricks, no fakes. This is real.
Just name and what you do to camera, please.
My name is Scott Sparrow. I'm a bird caller from South Africa. Sorry.
Okay, and what do you do?
Slide.
Hi, name and age?
Alex Jerem, 27.
Peter Weedman.
Frederick Skoda.
John O'Grady.
And what do you do?
I'm a dancer.
Soy Lady Thrower.
Okay, off you go. Tell me about lady throwing.
Bueno, básicamente yo lo que me dedico es a bailar, pero también actúo un poquito la parte acrobática, que es cuando tiro a la chica y...
Nice catch. And shrug. And say cool.
Cool.
Bueno, todo esto lo podéis ver.
So you can see all of this. It's actually quite fun. They got 10 times more people watching this than the spot itself. And that means that people want you to tell them things in a different way. They don't want the conventional formats. And then there is the new narratives that has to do with gaming. Gaming, you know, gamers are now rock stars. You know that when there is a gaming championship, they have more fans than footballers, really. Their platforms, and for instance, Twix that has been bought by Amazon has more people watching it than others because these are games. This is happening. And companies such as Nike and Coke are now sponsoring these videos. And it was something that they needed to tell a new narrative. Let's advance because I only have 1.5 minutes left. The fifth trend is that we're social animals because people say that technology has been separating us, but that's not true. We're closer to others than ever thanks to Facebook. I am connected with my friends from high school, from college, and now we're connected to many, many different people. Sometimes it could even bother us, but thanks to that, we're connected to many more people. We would be connected to less people if we didn't have this. I'm going to go to the core of it. You all know Tinder, don't you? Well, it's 1.5 hours on average that people spend with Tinder. Many of you say you don't have Tinder, but you have it. You have it, and you spend 1.5 hours on it. And then there are two more cases that I think are interesting and that I would like to show you that unite technology to people. And they use technology to unite people. This is a company in Brazil that unites people, older people in the US to young students in Brazil. It seems like something simple, but without technology, that was not possible. Technology unites us all.
Another country.
I'm very excited to be doing this.
I look like I'm only 25, but I'm 88.
Do you have sisters and brothers?
So you can watch this when we send the whole presentation, but this is for you to see that technology is uniting people who would not have been united without technology. And to end my presentation, well, I still have to tell you about fix and tell, but what companies have to do is to first solve problems and then tell about that solving of a problem, and not the other way around, because social corporate responsibility has always been understood the other way around, but what they have to do is fix the problems and then tell about it. Coca-Cola has actually recognized that normal Coca-Cola is bad and that zero Coke is better than traditional Coke. We will not tell you about Chipotle, but Chipotle was one decision of McDonald's. It used to belong to McDonald's, but now it is the fastest growing company in restauration, in fast food chains in the US. It grows 20% every year, and it has become a chain that is a content company. It is actually a restaurant, and they have really great content. You already know Tesla, and now I want to tell you about the latest trend, which is discovering the new future and how innovation or how technology can help us solve important problems in society. I don't know if you all know Sweetie. Do you know Sweetie? Well, this is delicate, because this is to actually attract pedophiles and then stop them.
In the Philippines, every day I have to sit in front of the webcam and talk to men, just like tens of thousands of other kids. The men ask me to take off my clothes. They play with themselves. They want me to play with myself. As soon as I go online, they come to me. But what they don't know, I'm not real. I'm a computer model, made piece by piece to track down these men who do this.
Webcam child sex tourism is a new phenomenon that's spreading like an epidemic. Men from rich countries pay children in poor countries to perform sexual acts in front of webcams. We estimate that tens of thousands of kids, some of them only 6 years old, are abused behind cams in the Philippines alone. But instead of hundreds of thousands of convictions, we could only find 6 men who have ever been charged. Our solution? Proactive policing. To stop predators, we need to patrol the websites where they commit these crimes and catch them in the act. We went undercover posing as a 10-year-old Filipino girl on public chat rooms. Sweetie is a computer model we created to look and move like a real girl.
I'm not real.
Men think she's sitting in front of a web.
I just want to make a long story short, but thanks to this, they actually stopped in 1 month 20-something pedophiles, and this technology is actually solving one of the biggest problems in society. And then you have this phone that we are going to build, that we will be able to build as we want. This is the ARA project. That if you want to have more cameras, then you can put more cameras, or you want more speakers, then you can put more speakers. This is a live project that was bought by Google. They bought it from Motorola. Motorola bought it from a startup, and this is the project, ARA. And they will launch it as a pilot in Puerto Rico. And we will have a phone that is really a customized phone. And that's it. There are many more things I should tell you about, but you can ask for the long presentation. It is there for you, and you can watch it in the comfort of your own